Who is the most absurd ruler in world history? King You of Zhou from ancient China is certainly a top contender. He orchestrated a real-life tragedy that rivals the tale of The Boy Who Cried Wolf, only this time the stakes were far higher. While the shepherd boy lost his sheep, King You lost his power and his life and caused the collapse of the Western Zhou Dynasty. Today, I'm going to take you through the story of this notorious king. In the last episode, we talked about King Xuan of Zhou, who managed to revive the Zhou Dynasty for a brief period. However, the constant wars during his reign left the kingdom heavily burdened. In 778 BC, King Xuan passed away, and his son Zhi Gongsheng ascended the throne, becoming King You of Zhou. By this time, the Zhou Dynasty was already a kingdom teetering on the edge of crisis. Unfortunately, King You was a ruler of unparalleled foolishness. It was only a matter of time before his disastrous decisions would plunge the kingdom into chaos. In 780 BC, just 2 years after King You ascended the throne, a massive earthquake struck the Guangdong region. This disaster was seen as a grave omen from the heavens, a sign that the kingdom was in danger. According to ancient tradition, a ruler in such circumstances should take this as a warning and strive to restore order and prosperity. However, King You did the exact opposite. Instead of focusing on governance and recovery, he indulged himself in wine and pleasure, neglecting the affairs of the state. He surrounded himself with sycophants who flattered him, leading the kingdom further into decline. His actions hastened the fall of the already fragile Zhou Dynasty. Among the vassal states of Zhou, there was a small state called Bao. Its lord had offended King Yu and was imprisoned. In a desperate attempt to secure his release, the lord of Bao offered his state's most beautiful woman, Bao Si, as a tribute to King Yu. Delighted by her beauty, King Yu accepted Bao Si as his favored concubine and released the king of Bao. Despite her heavenly beauty, Bao Si's expression remained cold and indifferent, never once showing a smile. King Yu, infatuated with her, became obsessed with making her smile. He showered her with lavish gifts of jewels, hosted extravagant banquets, organized grand performances, and even spent enormous sums to build magnificent palaces. Yet, none of these efforts moved Bao Si. Her refusal to smile became an obsession for the king. The more he saw her stoic, statuesque face, the more he yearned to break through her icy demeanor. It seemed as though, in his mind, winning her smile would somehow prove his greatness and satisfy his desire for validation. One day, King Yu took Bao Si on a tour outside the capital and came across the beacon towers nearby. These towers were part of an ancient system used to relay urgent military information. A series of high towers, spaced about 5 kilometers apart, would signal an enemy attack by lighting beacons, sending thick smoke into the sky. Upon seeing the beacons lit, the vassal lords would immediately mobilize their armies and rush to the king's aid. This communication system was efficient and vital in ancient times. During the visit, a court official came up with an idea. Since the system had never been used, why not light the beacons and summon the armies just for fun? Perhaps the sight of thousands of soldiers rushing to the rescue would amuse Bao Si and finally make her smile. King Yu thought this was an excellent idea and immediately gave the order to light the beacons. In an instant, the sky was ablaze with fire. The surrounding vassal states, thinking the kingdom was under attack, hurriedly assembled their armies and raced to the capital. When they arrived, however, they found no enemy, just a prank. The lords were furious at being fooled, but Bao Si, upon seeing the lords' anger and confusion, finally cracked a smile, much to King Yu's delight. From then on, King Yu repeatedly staged this prank, lighting the beacons in a desperate attempt to make Bao Si laugh again. The vassal lords, understandably, grew increasingly frustrated and began to lose faith in the king's leadership. Not long after, Bao Si gave birth to a son for King Yu. Out of his deep affection for her, King Yu decided to depose the original crown prince and replace him with Bao Si's son. This decision was a grave mistake, as deposing a crown prince was not only a serious breach of royal protocol, but also stirred up widespread anger. It particularly enraged the mother of the original crown prince, who was no ordinary woman. She was the princess of the powerful state of Shen. When the king of Shen learned of this, he was furious. In retaliation, he formed an alliance with the Quanrong tribes and other neighboring forces, assembling an army to march on the Zhou capital of Haojing. Their goal was clear: to overthrow the foolish and corrupt King Yu. In desperation, King Yu lit the beacons once again, signaling for help. However, after being tricked so many times, the vassal states had lost all trust in him. Not a single army came to his aid. As a result, the allied forces of Shen and the Quanrong tribes easily breached the walls of Haojing. In the chaos that followed, King Yu was killed and Bao Si was taken captive. What began as a campaign to punish an unworthy ruler soon turned into an orgy of destruction, with the kingdom falling into flames and chaos. The year was 771 BC, marking 275 years since King Wu of Zhou established the Zhou Dynasty. It was the turning point when the Zhou Dynasty transitioned from the Western Zhou to the Eastern Zhou period. During the Western Zhou, the royal family held centralized power through a feudal system, where vassal states remained loyal. However, with the start of the Eastern Zhou, although the Zhou king remained in name, the vassal states effectively ruled independently. Throughout most of Chinese history, nearly all dynasties were ruled by male monarchs, with one notable exception, which we'll discuss in a future episode. However, in traditional Chinese historical narratives, the downfall of dynasties is often blamed on women, especially those of extraordinary beauty. In fact, there is a specific term in Chinese idioms to describe such stunning beauty, a beauty capable of toppling a city or even a nation. Both Daji of the Shang dynasty and Bao Si of the Zhou dynasty are classic examples of women whose beauty supposedly led to the ruin of their kingdoms. This type of narrative is not unique to Chinese culture. In Western history, the story of Helen of Troy from Homer's epic is strikingly similar. Helen's beauty is said to have sparked the Trojan War, leading to the downfall of Troy. Attributing the collapse of states to beautiful women highlights a cultural parallel between East and West, revealing ancient societies' complex views on female beauty and power. I believe it is deeply unjust to place the blame for a kingdom's downfall on women. Instead, the failure lies squarely with the rulers themselves. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating stories from history. We'd love to hear your thoughts and see you in the next video.